So at this point we have completed the front part, the first front piece, the first armhole, and the total back length and the total back width, which is 50 centimeters. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna make the second armhole, and even though it's made in the same exact way, we're gonna do it on camera. So I have already chained my my one chain. So the first stitch is my half double crochet, and I'm gonna make 34 more stitches before I make my chain for the sleeve. So as we did before, we're gonna make 35 stitches, then we're gonna do the 32 chains, and then 35 stitches again. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, and 35. So we have our 35 stitches, and now we're gonna start making our chain for the armhole. So we're gonna do the first 16 stitches with the light gray, and the next 16 stitches with the dark gray yarn. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. And now I'm going to change colors. I'm going to cut the yarn on where I change colors over here. So leave the yarn long enough so you can secure it at the end. So I'm just going to bring the yarn, and I'm going to grab the dark gray and pull it through the loop. So grab the yarn, pull through the loop, and just tighten up the lighter gray loop. And I'm going to do 16 more chains with the dark gray. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. So as we did on the previous armhole, we're going to count 32 stitches from our work, and we're going to start crocheting from the 33rd stitch. So that's the first 16 stitches, and I'm going to count the next 16. So we're going to have a total of 32 stitches, and I'm going to put my crochet hook on the 33rd stitch because we made 32 chains, which they equal to 32 stitches. So I'm skipping 32 and I'm going to start crocheting from the 33rd stitch. And because the stitch was a regular stitch, I'm going to make a front post. So we want to have a total of 35 stitches at this point again. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, in my last stitch 35, my half double crochet, chain 1 and turn the work. So now, because it's the wrong side of the project, we're going to be making back posts, and we're going to fill in the chain stitches in the armhole, and we're going to make one stitch on every stitch as we did it in this armhole over here. So those 32 chains, they're going to come out to 32 total stitches. I'm going to keep the color changes so the project remains the same from the beginning to the end. So we're going to start our row, chain 1, and we want to have a total of 51 stitches with a dark gray. So chain 1, and the first stitch is a half double crochet, two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, and my last stitch over here is the 35th double crochet. And now we're gonna make one stitch on every single one double crochet on each of the next 16 stitches. So 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, and my last stitch 51, and this is the stitch where I'm changing colors. So grab the yarn and pull the first 2 loops, and I'm going to grab the lighter gray and I'm going to pull through the last 2 loops. So grab the lighter gray. Well, you can make a knot over there to secure the two colors, because we changed colors when we were doing the chain stitches. So grab the lighter gray and pull it through the last two loops. So now we're going to do one double crochet on each of the next 16 chain stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm just gonna attach the new yarn because the first yarn, the previous yarn ended. So what you want to do, just make a knot with both of the yarns, and you want to leave a big strand hanging out so you can secure the yarns at the end. So we were at the 3rd stitch. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and the last chain 16. And I'm going to continue crocheting, and I'm going to keep the pattern. So since the next stitch is a regular double crochet, I'm going to make a back post, and I'm going to continue counting until I have 51 stitches. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, and our last stitch, the half double crochet, 51, chain 1, and we're going to turn our work. So what we're going to do now is we're going to continue the rest of the second front part of video, off camera, but what I want to say is that we're gonna keep our pattern the same way that we did on the first sleeve. So even though right here we end, it seems as the pattern ends, what we're gonna do is we're gonna keep doing the pattern on the double crochets that we just did on our chains. So at this point, we have almost finished our rectangular jacket. Well, it's a rectangular piece with 2 holes for the armholes. So that's the first armhole. And moving to the left, we're gonna see in the same exact space, the same exact stitches, the second armhole. That's why we always want to count our stitches, because we want both of the armholes to be created in the same exact stitches, because if you don't count and your stitches and your armholes are gonna be not equal. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a border, because the stitch that I picked, see how it makes a little curve, it curves in, so we're gonna make 2 rows of double crochets. So the outline straightens out, so it doesn't curve in. So I'm gonna chain 1, and I'm gonna turn my work, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the row with only double crochets. I'm not gonna be doing back posts or anything. I'm gonna be working regular double crochet. So the first stitch is also gonna be a double crochet. So start counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and now I'm gonna work the rest of this row off camera. What I want you to do is when we finish these 102 stitches, I'm gonna turn my camera back on again. I'm gonna keep the changes of the colors in the middle of the jacket. So when I come to the end, when I've completed my 102 stitches, I'm gonna turn the camera on again to see how we're gonna work the corner and how we're gonna start crocheting on the sideways of our rectangular jacket. So when I complete the 102 stitches, I'm going to turn the camera back on again. Don't forget to keep the color changes. Or if you'd like, you can make it one color all around. Well, in this case, I'm just going to change the colors to keep the jacket the way it is. So I've made my 102 double crochet, my 101. So the last stitch we're going to work together, which is the 102nd stitch, and because it's the corner, we're going to make 3 stitches on the last stitch. The first stitch is to complete the row that we were just doing. The second stitch is the corner, the middle stitch, and the third stitch is the stitch that's going to start the next row, which is the sideways row that we're going to start working in a little bit. So the first stitch is going to be the completing stitch for this row, the 102nd stitch. So I'm a little off focus over here. So the second stitch is the middle, that's going to make the corner, and the third stitch is the stitch that's going to start the row that I'm about to start right now. And because we're going to be crocheting on the first stitch, on the first half double crochet of every row, we're going to be making one double crochet and chain one, and then we're going to be making a double crochet on the next half double crochet of the next row. So let's see how we're going to work that, because each half double crochet, if you just make one stitch on every beginning stitch of the half double crochets, your work is going to shrink, because the distance between half double crochet to the next half double crochet is bigger than just one stitch when you're working on the sideways of the stitches. So I'm gonna put my crochet hook on the beginning stitch of every row. So the beginning stitch of every row is a half double crochet. So one double crochet. I'm still working double crochets, chain one, and I'm gonna go on the first stitch of the next row, so on the next half double crochet, and I'm gonna make one double crochet, chain one, and I'm gonna work on the next half double crochet. I'm gonna make one double crochet, chain one, next stitch, half double crochet, chain one, the next stitch, the next beginning stitch of the next row, so double crochet, chain one, the next stitch, double crochet, chain one, the next stitch, double crochet, chain one, the next stitch, double crochet and chain one, the next stitch, double crochet, chain one. So if you don't want to get confused, what you can do is you can put a stitch marker or a little yarn on the beginning and in the end of every stitch, so at the end you won't be confused which is to find the first stitches of every row. So double crochet, chain one, the next stitch, double crochet, chain one, next stitch, double crochet, chain one, the next stitch, double crochet, chain one. So that's how you're going to work the rest of your row. You're going to be making one double crochet on the beginning stitch of every row, so one double crochet on every half double crochet, and then you're going to be making a chain one. And right before I finish this row, I'm going to turn my camera back on again to see how we're going to finish the row. So that's how your work is going to look like. Your double crochet and chain one between. And at the end, if you're working your double crochets correctly, you're supposed to have a straight line. So if your row comes out to be wavy, that means that you're making too many stitches in every stitch, so you might want to fix that. So right before we finish, we're gonna see how we're gonna work the corner together again, and then we're gonna work on the other side of our uh, rectangular jacket. So at this point, I'm almost finished this row. I have done all my double crochet in chain 1. So that's how the row is supposed to look like. We're gonna have a straight line. Your row is gonna look straight. So what we're gonna do now, the last stitch is a double crochet, because the first row that we did for the jacket was only double crochets. So I'm gonna make 1 double crochet in the middle of that stitch, because when you're working on top of a double crochet, on the sideways of a double crochet, it's completed with 2 stitches. So we just made 1 double crochet in the middle, and now in the corner we're gonna work 3 double crochet. The first double crochet is going to be the stitch that's going to complete the row that we were just crocheting. The second stitch is going to give us the cord, and the third stitch is going to be the first stitch of the next row that we're going to start working in a little bit. So 1, 2, 3 double crochet in the last stitch, and I'm gonna start working on the opposite side of my chains. So that's the where I started my my project. So that's my chain stitches over there. So I'm gonna be working on the opposite sides of each chain stitch, and I'm gonna keep the color changes here again. So what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to be making 1 double crochet on each of the next 102 stitches. So that was my second stitch. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to keep working on my row off camera. I'm going to change the colors on the 51st stitch again. And before I complete this row again, I'm going to turn the camera back on to see how we're going to work the middle stitch, the last stitch, and how we're going to start our next row. So when you do the color changes, you're going to have to cut the yarn from the this side and attach it on the side that we're working on now. So when we come to the corner stitch again, I'm going to turn the camera back on. So we're almost done with this row, and I'm going to work the last stitch. We have to be aware that the last stitch is the chain 3 that we used to turn our work. So on that stitch, on that first chain of the chain 3, that's where we're going to start making our 3 double crochet. So the first of the 3 double crochet is the stitch that's going to end the row that we were just making. The second stitch is going to give us the corner, and the third stitch is going to be the beginning of the row that we're going to start in a little bit, which is going to be the sideways. The side, we're going to work on top of the half double crochets again. So 1, 2, and 3 double crochet in the same stitch. Now we're going to make 1 double crochet in the middle of this double crochets we did in the beginning of this before the end of the previous row, where we worked 1 double crochet in the middle of that double crochet over there. So the middle where we're going to make this double crochet is going to be the second chain of those 3. So right over here, the second chain of the 3 chains that we used to turn to the first row of our project. Now I'm going to chain 1 and make a double crochet on the half double crochet of the next row. So in each beginning stitch of each row, we're going to be making 1 double crochet, chain 1, next row, double crochet, chain 1, next beginning stitch, chain 1, half double crochet, chain 1, next stitch, double crochet, chain 1, next stitch, double crochet, chain 1, next half double crochet, so double crochet, chain 1, next beginning stitch, double crochet, chain 1, next row, 1 double crochet, chain 1. So it's the same exact pattern that we're doing on the opposite side of the jacket, and that's how we're going to continue until the end of the row. It's the same exact thing that we did on the opposite side of the jacket. So we're going to keep making 1 double crochet on each beginning stitch of every row. So the beginning stitch of every row would be a half double crochet. So on every half double crochet, we're going to be making a double crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet on the next row. So right here we're almost done. That's my last row. So right there we have the first stitch that we started our row. So that's my last double crochet, and that's the first stitch that we started the row, which is a corner stitch in which we are supposed to have 3 double crochets in there. We already have the 1 double crochet because it was the beginning of the row, so we're gonna have to make 2 more double crochet in that same first stitch. So in that same first stitch that we started the row, like the beginning of this row. So we're gonna make 2 more double crochet to complete the corner. So the first double crochet is the end of the row that we were just doing. The second double crochet is going to give us the corner, and the third double crochet, which is already there was the beginning of this row. So slip stitch in that first double crochet, chain 1, and I'm going to turn my work. So that's how the rows of double crochets in chain 1 are supposed to look like. So turn our work, and now we're gonna make one stitch in every stitch all around our work again, and we're gonna keep the color changes. So we're gonna be making one double crochet on every double crochet and one double crochet on every chain 1 space. So right there is the first stitch. So we want to keep the corner again. So we're gonna make 1, 2, 3 double crochet in that first stitch, because if we see on the design over there, on our stitches over there, it was the middle stitch of those. So next stitch we're gonna make 1 double crochet. So everywhere we have the corners, we're gonna be making increases on the middle stitch of those 3. So 1 stitch in the next double crochet, 1 stitch in the chain 1 space, one double crochet on top of the double crochet, 1 double crochet in the chain 1 space, 1 double crochet on the double crochet, 1 double crochet on the chain 1 space, a double crochet on top of the double crochet, a double crochet in the chain 1 space, 1 stitch. So we're doing 1 stitch in every stitch. So right before I finish this side of the project, I'm going to turn the camera back on again, so we're going to see how we're going to do the corners. So we see how every corner has 3 stitches, the first stitch, the second stitch, and the third stitch. So on every second stitch right there, we're going to make our increase. So we're going to be working the 3 double crochets in that stitch, and we're going to be doing that on every corner of our project. So that's in any crochet project that you do, that's how you work your corners in order for them to look right. So in that second stitch right there, we're gonna make our increase. You can use a stitch marker or piece of yarn to mark the stitch you're gonna make your increases. So you're gonna work all that row over there, 1 stitch in every stitch, and in that corner again, you see how we have those 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, those 3 double crochets in the same row, in the same stitch. So in that second double crochet, you're gonna do the corner, you're gonna do the 3 double crochets in that same stitch. So that's where you're gonna do your increase. So I completed the whole row all around the jacket, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a slip stitch in the first stitch of this row, because I've already done sorry, I've already done the increase. So I'm gonna make a slip stitch in the first double crochet of this row, chain 1. So I've worked 1 double crochet on every stitch. So cut the yarn through the loop, and we're almost done. So what we want to do now is we want to make one row of single crochets on every armhole, and I'm doing that because on this on the armholes, because of the stitch that I picked, it curves out. So if I want to avoid that curving out, so I'm gonna make one row of single crochets all around, and I'm gonna keep the color changes here too. So I'm going to attach the yarn. I'm going to attach the dark gray yarn. So I'm gonna so we're just gonna do one row of single crochets all around. So I'm gonna grab the yarn and pull it through that stitch over there, that first dark gray stitch. So I'm just pulling the yarn through the stitch, chain one, and make one single crochet in that same stitch. So I'm making one stitch in every stitch. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and I'm going to work on top of that double crochet. So as we said before, each double crochet, when you're working sideways of a double crochet, you're supposed to make 2 stitches on top of it. So that was the first stitch, and that's the second stitch. So keep working single crochets all around. So now you're working on the opposite side of the chain stitches that you did when you created the armhole. So it might be a little difficult to try to crochet on top of those stitches. So we're making single crochets on the opposite side of the chain stitches that we did to make the armhole. So you want to be careful that you only make one stitch on every one of those stitches, because see how that chain stitch opens up, and you might think that you might want to make one more stitch in there, but you're going to be making one stitch in every stitch. So I'm going to change my colors now. This is the last stitch with the dark gray yarn. So instead of grabbing the yarn and pulling the 2 loops to create the single crochet, I'm going to pull those last 2 loops with the lighter gray, so I change my colors. So those 2 loops, I'm just gonna grab the lighter gray and pull through those 2 loops. So tighten up the dark gray yarn a little bit and start making our single crochet with the lighter gray. And you want to grab those pieces of yarn over there to secure them. 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So what you're doing is one stitch in every stitch around, because you might get confused on how it looks on the camera. You're doing one stitch in every stitch around the armhole. So that's my last single crochet over there, and I'm gonna make a slip stitch on the first single crochet of this row, chain 1 and cut the yarn, pull the loop through, and now we're gonna do the second armhole off camera the same exact way. This is how it looks by making one row of single crochets. So the second armhole we're gonna make off camera, and we're gonna secure our yarns off camera also. And when I'm done with my second armhole and securing the yarns, I'm going to turn the camera back on and see how the rectangular sleeveless jacket looks like. So see right there, when I fix that so it doesn't curve out. So I've completed the sleeveless jacket. This is how it looks like. I tried to pull the camera higher so you can see how it looks like. So that's the two armholes. They're in this exact same space on both sides. That's why I want to count our stitches always. So we're making the holes in anything that we need in the same spaces so our work looks correctly. So for this project I used a total of 16 skeins of yarn of 50 grams, and each skein was 130 meters, and this is about a size extra large. It's a size large, extra large, but it's pretty big, so it's more to an extra large. And as I said in the beginning, we used a 5mm crochet hook. I hope you find this video helpful. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and leave a comment if you found this video to be helpful. Sorry if you see me moving my hands at some points and I'm not saying anything, but this is a voice over the Greek video that I made for the sleeveless jacket. So and I'm talking on, I'm speaking over with the English. So thanks again. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye bye.